Hey everybody, Captain B-Nard back here with another Wi-Fi battle. Today we have week 8 of the BHDL1, so we're going to go ahead and get into it. And this is going to be against Sin slash Stefan. So there we go, IGN Stefan. And so yeah, let's take a look at the team preview here. So he's got the Corviknight. He's got the Garganackle. He's got the Cyclizar. He's got the Iron Bundle. He's got the Toxtricity, and he's got the Armarouge. So, no Iron Valiant. That is actually a huge surprise for me. I was very heavily anticipating him bringing Iron Valiant here. And no Crocodile either. So Toxtricity is the only Terra Captain that he has right now. I am kind of surprised, I have to say, a little bit at this squad. So we got to decide what we want to lead with. Not a lot of time to do that. I feel like Arcanine is probably the safest lead here for us, so we're going to go ahead and try that. And we'll see how that works out. So yeah, I'm very surprised, actually quite surprised by his team choices here. We'll see if that ends up benefiting him or me. As you guys know from the last video going in, this is an incredibly important game for both of us. Both myself and my opponent are sitting at a 4-3 record now, so this is going to have huge playoff implications. We really need a win this week to get back into it. So he's going to go ahead and lead with the Cyclizar as we lead with the Arcanine. So not a terrible start for us. We do get the Intimidate to cut this thing's attack, which is not bad. Now, I'm expecting this thing to kind of be somewhat of a utility set, as Cyclizar often is. But I feel like we probably just go right into the Earthworm. I feel like that's our switch here. I don't really want to take unnecessary damage on the Arcanine right out of the gate here. And so yeah, we're going to do that and see what he wants to do here. As we go ahead and come in with the Earthworm. And he is going to go ahead and go for a knockoff, so that is not going to do much of any damage. He is going to take Rocky Helmet Chip, but then he is going to get rid of our Rocky Helmet, so that's a little unfortunate that he got rid of that, but it kind of is what it is. I feel like now we just go Stealth Rock to get the entry hazard up, as I think hazard might be pretty important in this game, so we're just going to try to throw a Stealth Rock up and see what he does here. He might pivot out or he might straight switch unless he's got something up his sleeve for the Earthworm with the Cyclizar. But we'll see if he does, as he actually just straight up withdraws the Cyclizar. And what is he going to want to come in with here? It is going to be the Armarouge. So that thing is coming in as we go for a Stealth Rock, going to get the entry hazard set up on him, which hopefully will be useful in this game, as there will probably be a lot of switching. So we definitely don't want to stay in on this matchup. Now, unfortunately, this does give him the opportunity to set up on us, but we do have a pretty solid switch to this thing. Couple of them, actually, in the form of the Slowking. So I feel like we could go either Slowking or Goodra here. I feel like the safest bet is to go Slowking, as we do have a resistance to both this thing's stab moves. And he could very well go for a fire move here. So we're just going to switch Slowking in straight away. This is kind of why we have Slowking this week, as he goes for a Psy Shock. So we do resist that. However, it does hit us on the physical side. Even so, that doesn't do a ton of damage, which is nice. And then we do get some HP back with the leftovers. So he does have Psy Shock on the Armarouge, which is good to note. So I think I doubt he stays in on this matchup, as we resist both his stabs, and he did see the relatively low damage output. So he probably does switch here. Now the question is, what does he switch into? I feel like we could just take this opportunity to go for a Chilly Reception to pivot out. So I think that is actually what I'm going to do. We're just going to do that, as he does indeed switch. He has no business staying in on that matchup, and he is going to switch back into the Cyclizar. So that thing's coming in. It does not take Stealth Rock damage, which is good to note, so that means it is heavy-duty boots. We do get the chilly reception, which is nice, so we set the snow, which doesn't really help us, but it does pivot us out, which is actually really what we need. So the Cyclizar is boots. Now, knowing that it's boots, he's probably, if I had to guess, I would say he's probably going for the rapid spin here, more than likely. Now, we do want to try and get rid of this thing. The best way we can get rid of this thing might just be to go Arcanine and try to take it out with a close combat, or we could go Earthworm and try to take it out with a body press. He already kind of revealed that he probably doesn't want to stay in. So you know what? I feel like we go, we actually do go into the Earthworm here, because if he does want to stay in Rapid Spin, we don't have the Rocky Helmet for Chip anymore, which is unfortunate. But if he does want to Rapid Spin, then we get a huge Body Press off on this thing, which is going to be great damage. So I feel like we just go Body Press here. And see what he wants to do. So he either has to take one of those or leave the Stealth Rock in play, which he probably doesn't want to do, unless he's boots on a lot of those other Pokemon, which maybe he is, but we'll have to find out. So, yeah, we'll see what he wants to do here. He could, obviously, he could either switch or he could spin the rocks away. Obviously, it's going to be one of those two options, I believe. So he actually does straight up switch, so he doesn't want to take a big shot with the Cyclizar, so he's going to go ahead and switch directly into the Garganackle. So he's going to come in with that, take some Stealth Rock damage. We go for the Body Press here, and that does pretty good damage to this thing, actually, as then he is going to regain some HP with the leftovers, and then we are also going to not get anything back. So I feel like here we actually, he's probably going to throw his Stealth Rock up at this point, or he could Salt Cure, but either way I think we just go Iron Head to try and get damage on this thing as we do outspeed. Iron Head incoming, not enough to take him out, as we do get the flinch, so that is huge actually. We do end up getting the flinch on this thing, so that's absolutely huge for us, so nothing he can do this turn. That is incredible. He does get some HP back with the leftovers. He could definitely switch to try to save this. He doesn't have a ton of switches, but I feel like we're pretty safe to go for the Earthquake at this point, I think, in case he decides to switch to save this thing. Because I think he's within range that the Earthquake takes him out. So we're going to do that, as he is going to go to switch. Does he bring the Armarouge in, though? That is the question. It looks like he actually does bring the Armarouge in, takes some Stealth Rock damage, which is great. We're going to catch this thing with an Earthquake, which is incredible. How much damage is it going to do? Not quite enough to get the KO, but it does knock him into the red, which is incredible. It trips his weak armor to give him a defense decrease and a speed increase, as he's got weakness policy on deck too, which is horrifying. So now he's got a bunch of stat boosts, which is not good. Yeah, so that's not good at all. We definitely don't want to stay in on this thing. Now, I don't know if I really just want to switch Arcanine in willy-nilly against this thing. We saw he wasn't doing a ton of damage to the Slowking, but this is going to be a difficult decision for us, actually. It really is going to depend on what kind of coverage he has. I really don't want to switch the Arcanine in willy-nilly here, so I feel like Slowking is the switch, so that's what we're going to do. We have to get Earthworm out of there 100%. So, yeah, he is set up, which is unfortunate, but we are going to come in with the Slowking here, as he is going to go Flamethrower, so that's actually good. That actually does a ton of damage to us with a critical hit, which is super unfortunate. But the snow is going to stop, which is nice, and then we are going to get some HP back with the leftovers. So that is kind of unfortunate for us. So now we're going to have a pretty big choice to make, because it is really going to depend on what kind of coverage he has on this thing. This is going to be a really critical decision for us right now, because we don't really want to lose Slowking, as it is a good check to quite a few of his Pokemon. Or do we? We don't really want to lose Slowking for no reason. I feel like he's not going to switch, because he's very set up. So I feel like I don't really want to risk Arcanine, but at the same time, I don't think he goes Psyshock because he saw the damage. He's whatever. If he has coverage, that's bad. Let's try to switch. Let's try to switch Arcanine in and save the damage on the Slowking here, as he is going to stay in. We do withdraw. What kind of coverage is he going to have for the Slowking is the question. And we come in with the Arcanine, get the Intimidate to cut his attack, doesn't really matter, and he's going to go for the Energy Ball. So he did have Energy Ball coverage on there. We do resist it with the Arcanine. It does some decent chip to us still, but that's okay. At this point, I feel like our best solution here is we definitely could go for the Extreme Speed. He knows he can't switch this thing out or it goes down to Stealth Rock unless he can get the Stealth Rock off. He has switches to the Extreme Speed, but I feel like we got to play it safe here and go for the Extreme Speed anyway, so that's what we're going to do, and see what he wants to do. As he does stay in, we go for the Extreme Speed and get the KO on the Armarouge and knock him down to 5. So that is incredible for us. Definitely incredible for us there, getting rid of that Armarouge after it was set up so heavily. That could have definitely been a huge problem for us, so definitely good to see that thing gone. So we'll see what he wants to bring in response here to that. And it is going to be, once again, the Cyclizar. So he comes in with that thing. Now, I am kind of expecting this thing to Rapid Spin. We can't really do anything about that, but I feel like we just go into Earthworm every time against this thing. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We don't want to take a big hit on our Arcanine, but this is the perfect opportunity for him to Rapid Spin. He could knock off as well, but we'll see what he wants to do. We're going to just switch to the Earthworm. There's no reason not to right now. So we come in with that, and he does go for the Rapid Spin, so it's going to do basically no damage to us. It is going to increase his speed. He actually gets a crit again there. Thankfully, that crit does not matter, because that is negligible damage, but he does get rid of the Stealth Rock, which is unfortunate. So I feel like at this point, I feel like we probably just try to set the Stealth Rock back up against this thing, because he definitely doesn't want to stay in on this matchup. So we just try to reset the Stealth Rock here. That's our play. He is going to switch out, of course. And he is going to come in with the Corviknight. So kind of expected that. He is going to get the pressure coming into play, as we do go for the Stealth Rock and go ahead and get that entry hazard back up on him, which is nice. So in this situation, this Corviknight could do a number of different things here. He could defog the Stealth Rock away again. That's a possibility. He could be packing Body Press. That's a possibility. But how much damage would that do? The unfortunate thing is we can't do a whole lot to this thing in return. So I feel like our best answer is to switch. I think we can relatively safely switch into the Iron Moth here, knowing that he wouldn't go for a Brave Bird against us. So I think we just switch the Iron Moth in here. He could defog or U-turn, but we'll find out. He could Body Press also. But yeah, we're going to switch in with the Iron Moth here and see where that gets us. We come in with that. He does go for the U-turn, which is going to do a little bit of chip damage to us, but he does get the pivot on us, which is not great. So he is going to get to choose a matchup against the Iron Moth. So we're going to see what he wants to come in with against the Iron Moth here. And what is it going to be? That is the question. And it is going to be the Toxtricity, so that's interesting. So he comes in with that, takes some Stealth Rock damage. Now, I feel like the only reason he would come in here with the Toxtricity is if he's Choice Scarf. So little does he know that we are actually Choice Scarf as well. So if he's Choice Scarf, and he also has the Terra, which is the big wild card in this situation, so Toxtricity is obviously his Terra Captain. I feel like we probably... I feel like the only reason he brings this in here is if it's Scarf. So he could definitely be going for the Terra here. But I feel like we probably just scout for that and pivot out with a U-turn. I feel like that's our play, so that's what we're going to do. We don't want to make any real risks, as indeed, he is going to bust out the Terra. So he's going to Terrastalize. What is he going to Terrastalize into? Is it going to be normal? And yes, it is. It is going to be the Terra normal. Boom Burst, probably Scarf, I would imagine, so as he brought it in. So now he's going to know we're Scarf because we U-turn on him. It is going to do a little bit of chip damage and get us out of there with the Iron Moth, and now I feel like if he's choice Scarf, I feel like we can take Boom Bursts with Goodra well enough. I hope I'm not wrong about that. But I feel like Goodra is our switch here, so we come in with our max HP Assault Vest Goodra. Hopefully he's not Specs, because that would be bad news. As he does go for the Boom Burst, it is Terra boosted. How much damage is it going to do to Assault Vest Goodra? It does not quite half, so we do definitely take 2 of those unless he crits us again, which is nice. Now, is he going to stay, or is he going to switch is the question. Now, I feel like he probably, knowing that the second one is not enough to KO us, unless that was a low roll, we don't know. I feel like he probably... I feel like he doesn't stay in here. I feel like he probably does switch. But if he switches, what does he go into? That's the question. He could go into... Oof. What does he go into? I feel like we go Thunderbolt here, because I feel like he doesn't stay in with the Toxtricity. So I feel like we go Thunderbolt here. That's what we're going to do, as he does indeed. Does he switch into the Corviknight? Can we catch that thing coming in with a Thunderbolt? He does switch in with the Garganackle. Okay, so he's basically sacking that thing off. That comes in, takes some Stealth Rock damage. We go for the Thunderbolt, and it is more than enough to get rid of the Garganackle from that range and drop him down to 4. So that is incredible for us. That is definitely incredible for us that we got rid of the Garganackle before he could set the Stealth Rock up. So that is huge. So now he's going to have to decide what he wants to bring in against this. Unfortunately, he does know that we do have access, or that we do have Thunderbolt on this set now. So that is definitely going to heavily influence what he decides to bring in here, obviously. And we'll see what he wants to bring in against the Goodra now. So he's got the Corviknight at full, he's got the Bundle at full, he's got the Toxtricity that's a little chipped, and he's got the Cyclizar at full. So one of those is going to have to come in here to face the Goodra. It's probably not the Toxtricity, as we know he knows we can take another Boom Burst. So it could be the Cyclizar, depending on what his set is, but we're going to have to see here what he wants to do. So it is going to be, okay, it's actually going to be the Iron Bundle. So it's actually the Iron Bundle, so that's interesting. So he comes in with that, takes the Stealth Rock damage. Now this thing could easily be Choice Spec, it could be Choice Scarf, it could be a lot of different things here. This is going to be a tough decision for us, because do we spend, the question is, do we spend the Goodra to get rid of the Iron Bundle? Potentially is the question here. I feel like, I don't know if we can take an Ice move from this thing. We probably can't, actually, since we've been chipped. Do we switch the Arcanine in, or the Iron Moth, to try and mitigate this? I kind of don't want to be... this is a tough one. I feel like we might... I feel like we... Do we stay in here, or do we not? Do we stay in... I feel like we stay in and we try to tank an attack, and we try to take this thing out with a Thunderbolt. That's probably our best shot. So he does go for a Flip Turn, actually, so that's interesting. So he's got Flip Turn on deck. He goes for it to chip us. So he's got Flip Turn on the Bundle. And so he's going to have to pivot out into something here. What does he pivot into, though? That's the question. Probably not the Toxtricity, probably not the... It could be the Corviknight, it could be the Cyclizar, and it is going to be, it looks like, the Corviknight. So that's a daring move. He brings that in on a Thunderbolt. He does get the pressure, which is coming into play. He takes the Stealth Rock damage, and so Thunderbolt incoming, how much damage is it going to do? It takes him all the way down to a third HP, or about a quarter HP, I should say, which is great damage. We actually get forced out with a red card, which is interesting. And what is he going to force us into? It is going to be the Slow King. So that's actually pretty worst case scenario for us, unfortunately, because we know this thing's packing U-turn. But we do get the HP back with the leftovers. So now the question is, what do we do? Because he could very well... He has a lot of options here. He could try to Roost Up. That's definitely a possibility. I feel like we stay in and we either pivot ourselves out with a chilly reception, or we try to take this thing out with a fire blast. He could U-turn to chip us even farther. That's possible. I feel like he probably either roosts or defogs here, though. So I think we're actually going to go for a fire blast here, as he does go for the roost. Okay, so he stays in, go for the roost. That's going to heal him back up to almost full. Can we hit the fire blast here? We do hit the fire blast. Is it enough to take the Corviknight out? Not quite. It is not quite enough to take the Corviknight out, but it does knock him into the red, which is incredible, as we get some HP back with the leftovers. So now that he knows we have the fire blast, and he knows that we're doing just a little more damage with the fire blast than he can recover with the roost, I feel like he might actually switch this turn. So knowing that, do we chilly reception, or do we? Well, we got to make a note that he has the roost. So do we chilly reception, or do we attack? I feel like we chilly reception. This is a tough one. Or we could surf. We could surf. You know what? Let's chilly reception, because I feel like he doesn't. I feel like he doesn't stay in, so we chilly or he U-turns. As he does U-turn, okay, so we do take some chip damage on the U-turn, which is fine. And he gets the pivot out. Yeah, I didn't think he was going to stay in there to play that game with the roosts and the fire blasts there. That was not a winning game for him to play unless we ended up missing with a fire blast, which could have happened, but thankfully we didn't have to risk that just yet. So he does pivot out. What's he going to come in with to face the Slow King is the question. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? It is going to be the Cyclizar. So that thing's coming in as we do go ahead and get out of there with the chilly reception. So we're going to go ahead and pivot out the Slow King, which is incredible for us. So now the question is, what do we want to bring in to face the Cyclizar? And I think our answer every single time here has to be the Orthworm. The Orthworm is pretty much the penultimate counter to this Cyclizar, so we have to come in with the Orthworm here. So we're going to do that, and so I think based on what he has left, there's no reason for us not to go for a body press here. So we're just going to go straight for the body press and see what he wants to do. There's no reason for us not to. So we're going to see what he wants to do here, as I think Body Press hits everything on his team super effective that he has left, except the Corviknight, but it's so low that I believe it does go down, as he actually stays in and goes Draco Meteor. We can take it with about a third of our HP remaining. He gets a harsh special attack drop. We go for the Body Press. In return, it is not quite enough. It's not quite enough to take the Cyclizar out, unfortunately, but it leaves him in the red. So now we're going to have an interesting choice to make again, because he's at Draco. After that special attack drop, we might actually survive another Draco with the Orthworm if he goes for it. So I feel like there's no reason for us not to just body press again. So that's what we're going to do here, as he stays in, goes for the rapid spin this time, unfortunately. He goes ahead and gets that speed increase, which is unfortunate. But the real unfortunate part is that he gets rid of our rocks. So we do go for the body press here and take out the Cyclizar and knock him down to 3. So that is incredible for us. We did have to lose our rocks, but that's okay. So now he's going to go ahead and come in with the Toxtricity again. So I feel like we probably just let Orthworm go down here, just due to the fact that it seems like he is going to. It seems like he is going to. It seems like he's choice, so he probably has to lock into something here. We probably just stay in and go for the body press here. So that's what we're gonna do. As I think Orthworm did its job. He does go for the Boom Burst. It is Terra boosted. Even resisted, I don't think there's any way we take that, and indeed there's not. So Orthworm is going to go down there, and we're going to go down to 5. But Orthworm did do its job in this one for sure. So now we have to decide how we want to deal with this thing. I think the best answer we have to this thing is probably going to be the Iron Moth. I think the Iron Moth is the answer. I think the Iron Moth is probably the answer. Yeah, because I don't think Gudra, it's going to be really... I think Gudra can take one more, actually. You know what? It's going to be really close, but based on the damage we saw from the first one, I think Gudra actually does take another Boom Burst, but I don't really want to play that game if I don't have to. So let's come in with the Iron Moth instead. So we're going to come in with the Iron Moth. We know we outspeed. He's probably, if I had to guess, I would say he's Scarf, because the way that he brought this thing in against us leads me to believe he's Scarf. Now the question is, do we want to risk the Fire Blast or not? I kind of don't want to risk the Fire Blast. Now we could very well switch into Corviknight here, which would be devastating if we go for the Sludge Wave. But I really don't want to risk missing a Fire Blast right now, and we really just need to chip this thing down. So I feel like we just go Sludge Wave here. I feel like that's our play. We just go Sludge Wave as he does switch. So is he going to come in with the Bundle or the Corviknight? That's the question. It is going to be the Corviknight, so that does suck. He comes in with that. Pressure comes into play. We do go for the Sludge Wave and it doesn't affect. So this is actually bad. This is actually bad for us because the snow does go away, but this means the Corviknight gets the heal, and there's nothing we can do about it. So that is very unfortunate, but there's not much we can do about that. So I feel like the best thing we can do here is... do we switch in with the Hawlucha or the Arcanine? We have to switch, obviously. I feel like we probably just switch in with the Arcanine. I think that's our switch here, so that's what we're going to do. He's more than likely just going to roost here, which is unfortunate. There's nothing we can do about that. He is going to get his HP back, so if he wants. So we're going to come in with the Arcanine. We do get the Intimidate to cut his attack, which is nice, as he does actually U-turn, which is interesting. So if that's the case, he may not... Maybe he didn't want to heal, maybe he doesn't know we're Scarf, maybe the Toxtricity isn't Scarf, I don't know. But he actually just U-turns out, and he goes into the Iron... no, I'm sorry, he goes back into the... yeah, he goes back into the Toxtricity. So, the question here is going to be, how do we want to play this? We could definitely chunk this thing with an extreme speed. I kind of want to do that because we do have other answers for this thing. So I feel like the best thing we can do now with Arcanine is probably just try and chip this thing with an extreme speed, because we just need to get damage on this thing. So, or we could actually switch the Gudra in, to be fair. But I feel like our best bet is just to chip this thing with an extreme speed. So that's what we're going to do. We go for the extreme speed. It is not quite enough to take him out. It actually would have been enough had we gone for the Terra Normal, but I didn't want to go all in on the Arcanine, so he's going to go for the Boom Burst and take us out and drop us down to 4. So Arcanine did do its job, though. It got a lot of chip damage on that thing, which is exactly what we needed, because we know we outspeed with the Iron Moth. So we're going to go ahead and just come in with the Iron Moth straight away here. And yeah, he is so low at this point that a U-turn actually might take him out, but I don't want to risk it. The unfortunate thing is, if he does come in with the Corviknight, this is a tough one, because I don't want to risk missing the Fire Blast. I feel like U-turn, I don't want to risk taking him out. He could come in with the Iron Bundle. He could come in with the Corv. Let's just go for the Energy Ball here, as he does switch. So if he comes in with the Bundle, that would be great, but I have a feeling he's probably going to come in with the Corviknight, which indeed he does, but he doesn't at least get a free switch. So he does get the pressure coming into play, which is fine. We go for the Energy Ball. If it can at least 2-hit KO the Corviknight, which it looks like it definitely can, that's perfect. And we actually do get a special defense drop to ensure that the Energy Ball, second Energy Ball, will take him out, no questions asked. So that's exactly what we're going to go for. No reason not to. We're just going to go for that Energy Ball. He is low enough with the Corviknight that even though it's X4 resisted, it will take him out from that range, plus the special defense drop, no questions asked. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. And he does stay in. We do go for the energy ball, and it is enough to go ahead and finish the Corviknight off and knock him down to 2. So that is incredible news for us. So he's got the Toxtricity Terra Normal that's on his last legs left that we know we outspeed, and he's got the Iron Bundle here. So the only thing he can really do, I believe, is just come in with the Iron Bundle, which indeed he is going to do that, and hope that he can take an energy ball. So the only question is, though, would he have this thing Scarf? Would he have a Scarf? Would he have a Scarf Iron Bundle on deck? That's the question. I feel like we just go for the energy ball here. I feel like we just go for it and hope he's not Scarf. And he's not Scarf. We go for the energy ball. Is it enough? Yes, it is enough to take the Iron Bundle down and knock him down to just one Pokemon. So Iron Moth coming through for us here, putting in the work, and his last Pokemon is going to be that Toxtricity that is in fact on its last legs here, so we know we outspeed this thing. There's no reason not to just stay in and go straight for one more energy ball. That's exactly what we're going to do, and hopefully there we go, energy ball comes in. It is more than enough to take the Toxtricity out from that range. And that is game. Alright, so we are going to win that one 4-0 against Stefan. But that was a great match. Very well played, I would say. Very competitive match there. Very happy to get the win. To snap that little mini losing streak we had. Yeah, and that is just a huge, huge weight off our shoulders. Huge relief. There. So we're going to go ahead and back out here. So, with that, the Philadelphia Pidgeys are going to advance to a 5-3 record here in the BHDL1. With this win, the reason this is so big is because this does mathematically guarantee that we will at least be in the conversation for a playoff spot. We will at least be in a wild card spot regardless of what happens in Week 9. So this is definitely great news for us, and very happy to take the win in this one. But I am going to just leave it there for now on this video, and then, of course, we are going to come back and do the weekly recap and preview video where I'll go into a little more depth to it. But just very happy to get back on track here with a win in this one. So that's it. Thanks for watching again, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and or subscribe if you did enjoy, and stay tuned for more new battles in the future. So that's it, and we'll see you next time.